Welcome back to the Frith Guild podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm co-host Scott.
And with that, we're going to get into chapter 6, The Battle in the Tempest Sky. So we constantly talk about the plot of the books and everything like that. Sometimes we don't give our appreciation as much with the actual writing of Shami. So she gives us the best and most absolutely chilling descriptions with how Volke feels when he merges with Luthair, especially now that Luthair is a true form nightmare. And I'm going to quote this: "Coating me in icy magic that seeped down to my bones. My focus sharpened, my senses heightened, and when I took a breath, it seemed as though I drew in power rather than air. Luthair's shadow armor appeared near liquid, a cascade of inky darkness that shifted as if needed." Again, just absolute amazing descriptions there.
Chills.
Like, oh.
He has literal chills, and I think we do too at this point.
So Volke has to merge because a wild, shiny Thunderbird appears along with 3 other normal Thunderbirds that are all plague-ridden. And Volke kind of senses this. He can kind of feel them coming, and we're not sure if this is the true form side of it, if this is his being prior plague-ridden, and if he still carries that able to sense other creatures, although he does feel their heartbeat. So again, we're not sure what magic this is coming from, whether this is from his being plague-ridden or true form. So a lot of extra new things that Volke has to kind of learn now that he has a true form nightmare. With these plague-ridden creatures, and this goes back all the way back to the very first book, Nightmare Arcanist, in chapter 7, I believe, where Volke actually is fighting this plague-ridden Whiteheart, and how there's such an emphasis on the way that they speak and how they don't speak in a logical or rhythmic pattern, and that they have like dead fish eyeballs, which always gives me the chills.
And it's rough for Adelgis too, because he hears all of their thoughts. So he's anytime they're around getting bombarded with this creepy,
right?
I don't know what you call it, just creepy.
Just absolutely creepy. Yeah, that's good. Kudos for Adelgis for being able to withstand it. Hopefully, he's figuring out a way to block out thoughts instead of just having to deal with it and willpower through it. During the fight, Volke is using his terrors, going back to the OG move. He does target the 4 specific creatures. Now, the 3 that are not, the 3 smaller ones, they basically are unbonded Thunderbirds that have been infected. And when he hits all 4 of them with the terrors, realistically, only the 3 get affected. So we're seeing again that the plague-ridden that are bonded are the ones that are not going to be affected as much as the non-bonded or unbonded creatures. With the one that we assume is bonded, we don't know where the Arcanist is, but they start to bring out their Thunderclap aura, which is doing a really good bit of damage since it's hitting the nails in the floorboards on the deck. It's hitting the steel rings on the rum barrels. Why is all the rum gone?
Where did the rum go?
Exactly. Not the rum. Like, come on, leave the rum alone.
And you know what? It's a good thing Addie stripped for us.
I bet Volke is very glad that he took his belt off for this. Oh, my Lord. So for anybody that doesn't know, the Thunderclap aura basically goes after any bit of metal that's on or around the aura. So if you play Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild, that basically if you're wearing any kind of metal on you whatsoever, and the thunderstorm is coming, it will electrocute you, and unless you have like invincibility to lightning, you're going to die. Volke fighting these creatures, things are getting bloody. Captain Devlin steps in and is trying to put out the fires that is starting to come up on the ship because of all the lightning that's going on. It's freaking lightning everywhere. And then Fane and Zaxxas come up, enter the fray. And it's like, wait a minute, Zaxxas is probably doing more damage to the ship than the Thunderbirds are.
That's where the fires are coming from. It's not actually from the Thunderbirds. It's from Zaxxas.
It's like, oh, wait, no, we have to put out the fires because of the lightning, and now we have to put out the fires because of Zaxxas, too, because, like, he's probably causing more. We're thankful that we have Fane coming out, definitely because we have his ability to freeze all that blood that's coming out of the plague-ridden creatures. We don't want anybody else to get infected, because I don't know if we just happen to have more second ascension people to just happen to come out of nowhere to cause them to get a true form out of nowhere, but, you know, they're not the reason why people get true forms specifically. Now, I did get goosebumps when Volke had finally ended the fight, stepping up, like shadow stepping underneath the Thunderbird, cutting up with his sword and then cutting through the Arcanist that happened to be inside the Thunderbird. Because, again, why not? You know, these things are creepy enough. And I know that this Thunderbird had like a description of having arms and legs, human arms and legs dangling out from it. But again, why not?
They're the bad kind of nightmare fodder.
Yeah. So Volke did cut through the Arcanist inside, instantly stopping the Thunderclap aura, thankfully, but did not actually kill the Thunderbird instantly. Devlin ended up ending the Thunderbird itself. And then the 30 smaller ones ended up fleeing, and they ended up going under the airship. And again, Volke knows where everybody is because he can just sense them. So not going to argue about why he has the power, but the fact that he has the power is great. Now, this is something that I understand the thought process behind, but it was something that was kind of that, like, they sent Titania, Forsyth, and Mesos under the ship to go fight off the smaller Thunderbirds. I don't really quite understand why, because if the Phoenixes get infected by the plague, like, this is a very severe thing.
It's a bold move. It's a risky move, that's for sure. You're banking on them being able to scare away the Thunderbirds from a distance with the fire, or somehow injure them enough that they fall away. It's very risky.
Exactly. And again, don't have the second ascension around to just happen to cause somebody to hit their true form, but I digress. So we do have Mesos coming in, though. That's a great thing to have the rock come through. And then Volke just kind of like swan dives off the railing of the Sun Chaser because he's going to go help in the fray. All right. And with that, that's the end of this week's episode. I don't think there's anything coming up on the horizon, anything new as far as we're aware of at the moment, at least for when this is being recorded.
Next up, I think the next upcoming is Time Marked Warlock 2, which is crazy, but I think that's the next one. That'll
be in November, so by the time this is actually posted, we're not going to be too terribly far off from that.
Yeah, which is crazy.
All right, with that, we're going to end today's episode, and we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you.
Eric, Scott, and I want to thank everyone for listening today. We post a new episode every Wednesday morning at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, and 8 Pacific Standard Time. We are on all podcasting platforms and are also on YouTube as well for video. After the additional episode airs, we post chapter-by-chapter videos every day in a smaller, easier-to-digest format. We do want to give a special shout-out to the final member of our team, Dan Mackison, one of the admins for the Frith Chronicles Wiki, link listed below, and doing his best to keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at frithguildpod@gmail.com or on Facebook or any other social media by searching for Frith Guild Podcast. Just to remind everybody, we have links to everything in the description below on both the podcast and YouTube.